What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Game, your one source for everything cool in video games. We have an awesome show this week. We're hitting a huge RPG, and we're going through Harlem, swinging through the streets with the latest Spider-Man game. But before we get started, let's get going with the Inside Scoop. Well, we've all finished Marvel's Avengers now, and we've all maxed out our characters. But what's next? We're all waiting for Crystal Dynamics to tell us what's coming next. Kate Bishop's been delayed, Hawkeye's been delayed, the new update for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X has been delayed till 2021 at some point. A whole lot of delays, but some people took to Twitter after doing some data mining to find out some of the roster leaks. Items are coming, missions are coming. We're getting Black Panther, War Machine, and Ultron.
Alright, so I'm back with Bethesda news, and we have quite a bit of juicy content here. And first I'm going to start off with some information that Todd Howard had revealed in a recent interview. Now, starting things off, we're going to go with Starfield talk. Now, they have revealed that the map for Starfield will be their biggest map yet. This is insane because if you've ever played Fallout or Elder Scrolls, any of those games, they have very, very big fleshed out maps. So for him to say it's going to be their biggest, are we talking planetary, or is this all just going to be on one big planet? I don't think so. I'm hoping it's going to be a whole solar system at the very least. So this is really exciting news for anybody who's been kind of catching all this Starfield information. Now, next, we have Elder Scrolls 6 being confirmed to be on Game Pass day one. Now, a lot of us kind of thought that's what was going to happen, but at the same time, we weren't really sure what this whole transaction between Microsoft scooping up Bethesda really meant. But this really does mean that Game Pass will be getting all of Bethesda's games day one. And one thing I'm going to have to mention is that the interviewer asked Todd Howard one of the biggest things that we're going to see with their engine overhaul. And aside from the obvious graphical fidelity upgrade that we're going to get, he said that NPCs are going to be a huge thing. Now, when you played Skyrim, if any of you have, when you're walking around Whiterun, it feels like this fleshed out big city, but ultimately, like Todd Howard said, there's only like 20 people kind of moseying around doing whatever they do. But they really made it believable. So what Todd Howard kind of said moving forward is that maybe we're going to kind of have this cyberpunk feel where you're in this fleshed out city or all these cities and towns. I'm really excited by this. I'm a huge Bethesda fan, and I loved every one of their games. I'm actually playing Fallout 76 now, believe it or not, because it's really doing well. So that'll to say, what do you guys think about this whole Bethesda scenario? Are you guys excited for Starfield? Are you excited for Elder Scrolls 6 even though it's light years away? Let us know what you think by hitting us up on our Discord or on our website. I'm really curious to know what all my other fellow Bethesda fans are thinking in these amazing, crazy times.
If you were like me and always wanted to get into League of Legends, but just thought it was a little overbearing to get into, well, I got some exciting news. Over the 2020 championship for League of Legends, Riot Forge announced that the Ruined King, a League of Legends story, is on its way and for the first time is coming to consoles. Like literally every console. Switch, PlayStation, 4, 5, Xbox Series X, everything. I haven't seen Stadia yet. We'll see if it's coming there, but some exciting news if you're looking to get into the world of League of Legends. Ruined King is a great way to expand the world of Runeterra for brand new players as well as dedicated League of Legends fans, said head of Riot Forge over at Riot Games Leanne. Ruined King will be the first single-player game to bring League of Legends universe to both consoles and PC. We are excited to take this plunge into exploring stories and champions that players have enjoyed over the years, and can't wait for our players to embark on this new adventure with us. Ruinforge sounds cool. League of Legends have so many champions to choose from. How will they form the story? Who knows? But we're gonna see it in early 2021. Are you excited?
Well, Friday the 13th is back in the news again, and for different reasons than last time. This time, it is regarding its newest update. Now, Friday the 13th has enjoyed several updates since it came out in 2017, but this newest update at the end of November is what has the internet on fire, as the publisher announces they will be withdrawing support for dedicated servers. Now, that's not to say that you won't be able to play this game, and if you are interested, it is still worth picking up because all the save data will be there and you will be able to connect and game with players on a private match basis. Now, this latest and last update will fix a lot of the player encountered bugs, but won't really add too much more new content. The developer Illphonics has kind of moved on from this game into Predator Hunting Grounds, so if you want to keep up with the development and action of a asymmetric multiplayer game, that's kind of your best place to go now.
You know, we're big fans of Google Stadia over here, and if you're a Stadia Pro member, well, be excited once again. We're getting 6 new titles coming for Stadia Pro for the month of November. One of the biggest things coming this month will be Sniper Elite 4. Experience a tactical third-person combat, gameplay choice, and epic sharpshooting across gigantic levels as you liberate World War II Italy from the grip of fascism. You'll also be getting Risk of Rain 2, The Gardens Between, Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, Republique, and Sundered, Eldritch Edition. Also coming to Stadia this month was Watch Dogs Legion and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Are you picking up either of those titles? Let us know at insidethegame.ca.
So it's probably not too hard to believe this, but a couple weeks ago when I talked about a third-party company, PlayStation5.com, offering custom colored and designed plates that will replace the stock white ones on the PS5. It was a company that kind of offered this as the only one out there right now. There was nobody else really doing anything like this. Well, because of that, there's a lot of people that obviously love to customize their consoles, so they got a huge influx of pre-orders for these things, and it prompted Sony to get in touch with them and kind of offer a few suggestions in the way of maybe changing their website name so people don't think it's necessarily directly related to Sony. PlayStation 5 sounds a whole heck of a lot like PlayStation 5, so you can kind of see where Sony's coming from there. And also, they don't really love the idea of the plates being able to customize the console from what it is stock completely, so PlayStation's kind of come in with their lawyers and kind of strong-arm this company to actually prompt a name change, so they're actually custom plates limited now, and they're going to be offering vinyl skins instead of actual custom, plastic plates for the side of the PlayStation. So you're still going to be able to change the color if you want, and they have said anybody that has pre-ordered some of these things, they are sending out refunds right now, so they're actually got over 20,000 of refunds they've given out already, so it's not like they're this kind of, vanished company overnight. If you've got your money into them, they're definitely going to get it back to you. But it's still interesting to see kind of Sony swipe in there and kind of strong arm this smaller company into saying, hey, you know what, this thing's brand new and we want it to release and look exactly how we want it to look. And they kind of bullied these guys in, but it sounds like they're kind of correcting their ways, and they have come out and publicly said they don't want to have any copyright infringement issues with Sony at all. They just wanted to be able to kind of have gamers be able to customize their setups. So as things go forward here, hopefully things will get a little better for them in the future.
right, Corey, I hope you limbered up for this one because we're getting into Pro Gymnast. So we got to try out Pro Gymnast this week, and it's a pretty unique one that we got to play. It's by Wallaber Entertainment, and it's not easy. I'll tell you that. You're basically making your character, and you're going through these different unique levels, and you're just basically trying to be a gymnast. So what did you think about it so far?
Oh, well, you know what? You're definitely right. This game is not easy. There is a steep learning curve to these controls. They suggest right at the beginning if you have a controller to use one. Oh. And I tried both keyboard and mouse and controller just to kind of understand why they suggest controller. A lot of games have controller support, but most of them don't suggest you use one for their game. Well, I couldn't even almost play this game on keyboard and mouse. It was so hard. The controller is definitely the way to go here. And again, there is this learning curve to the controls here. Every button on your controller is almost like a different part of your body as the gymnast. So it takes a lot of kind of getting used to learn what you have to do to build momentum on some of these obstacles to get yourself from point A to point B in these maps, because it's not your basic gymnastics style map here. You know, we've got moving bars and things that flip around and motorized wheels and, you know, crash pads that are being used as sleds, and like it's crazy. Like there's a bunch of wild stuff going on here. This game's definitely meant to be challenging, and right off the bat it definitely was. The one thing I did like, and I don't know how much time you spent in it, but when you get to customize your character, I know there wasn't a ton of options for like clothing and all that kind of stuff, but they gave you a million different options to change like your body shape and style. Like I messed around for a while just to see what you could do, and I ended up on something fairly normal. I didn't go too crazy, but like you could just change everything about the size of your character that you can make them look absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, to get back to the levels are unique and they're pretty cool, and some of them are tough, but it's almost like you have to fail a bunch of times just to see like where the objective is you have to go, because you get medals for there's like a time bonus, a score bonus. Some levels have a piece of chalk that if you can manage to get your guy up there to kick or hit with his head, you'll get that medal, and then just completing it. But I wish it almost like started backed off and showed you the whole level and then kind of zoomed into your guy, because you have to almost like fail along the way to be like, oh, okay, that's how I get to the end of this thing.
Yeah, it's not easy, right? Because you're basically playing your way through the level, but you don't see ahead very much. You're kind of just seeing the next obstacle you have to reach. So you don't necessarily get that kind of bird's eye view, big kind of pan out shot to kind of understand what you're getting into on all these levels. Because the one thing I did notice, especially early on as you play through, so there's kind of two worlds here. We've kind of got the beach and then there's Tokyo. And to unlock the second world, Tokyo, you've got to, unlock a certain number of medals in the first world's levels. And I'll tell you, it's definitely not easy getting all these medals. You can get through the levels and kind of go from point A to point B and get kind of the completion medal and that kind of stuff. But to get those extra medals that you need to unlock, you really truly do have to, really kind of get the handle of this one at some point, right? I mean, because if you're just going to try to get from point A to point B, you're not really going to learn a whole lot. Let me tell you, you end up just flopping around more than anything else. And to be fair, this game's trailer laid heavily into the fact that they know this game isn't something you just pick up and play, and you're going to fail. Super easy. It's all about the failing, because there's a pretty cool kind of replay editor in this as well. So as you go through these levels, no matter how many times you fail, when you complete the level, it kind of prompts you to check out your replay. And you can go through a fairly extensive replay editor I thought that was a kind of a nice little addition because this is only a $20 game, so there isn't a ton of features here. So to have this kind of really in-depth replay editor for a game that, I mean, to be totally honest, is fairly simple in the idea, other than how difficult the controls are.
Yeah, and about just your guy doing these tricks, another thing I found cool was how he ragdolls. You knock your guy unconscious, he gets the little birds around his head, and then, he just crumples and ragdolls. But one thing they do have to kind of help you along the way is you can slow down time, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an arrow and shows you, which direction you're going to end up if you let go. I put the automatic grab on. I'm not sure if you did that.
I maneuvered to that because I was having just way too hard of a time.
Yeah. So
trying
as
to
long
do
as you
myself.
get kind of closer, your guy will grab. I couldn't imagine doing it the other way around. So what do you think you'd be giving this one for a score, Corey?
Well, you know what? I mean, it is tough. This is a hard game. They play on that like we talked about in the trailer. But it was tough to get into for that aspect alone. Like, it's not a game that, you're going to play for a couple hours and learn the controls and master them by any means. Like, there's at one point early in the game, they have like a small tutorial video just to help you learn how to build up, when you're swinging around in a loop-de-loop, building up your momentum. So, I mean, they know it's difficult, but I think that's going to be kind of the Achilles heel here, is that if it's going to be too hard for some people to really get into and invest, because there's a ton of gameplay here. For $20, you get a ton of levels trying to get all those medals. But honestly, I just think the difficulty level may be a little too high for people really to just enjoy the fun of this game. So for me, I got to give this one a 4.5, man.
4.5. Okay. Yeah, you really have to start relying on that muscle memory after a while. You got to think real quick, right? I'm going to give it a 5.5. Just a little bit higher. Pro Gymnast has a steep learning curve that makes it tough to get into, but if you can manage to master the controls, the game is very rewarding.
Alright, Drew, so, believe it or not, we're actually going to talk right now about Anthem.
Yeah, buddy.
And a recent kind of blog, I guess, that BioWare had put up.
Yep.
And it's got a lot of juicy information, I could say. And, man, let's just, let's go back to Anthem when it first launched.
Sure.
And the hype that we had going around it, and the excitement for the potential raid, and some post-game content, and man... The game was pretty rough, and it still stands in a really rough spot. But
absolutely.
But man, what we have with this blog is it's got me quite interested. So why don't you kind of start things off with that?
Honestly, the blog kind of goes on. I'm just gonna lightly touch over it all as a kind of a highlight here. Nate, you're the more the looter shooter, but when it comes to Anthem, dude, I fell hard for Anthem, right? Like, I was so pumped for this game, and like a lot of us felt by the time it was all said and done, there was just nothing else to do. How many times do you want to kill the Titan Spider over and over and over again, right?
That tyrant mind, man.
Oh my goodness, dude, how many times did we kill that thing? Like, seriously.
Oh.
The biggest problem with Anthem was the fact that they just didn't have the content to carry a games of service and still just have that community behind it and the content behind it. And that's where it seems to struggle, but it seems to be having an update that's coming. No actual details as the release date, but a lot of details and going into what is coming for this update. And I think that's kind of where we are getting a little bit excited, Nate, because honestly, it's starting to look a little like one of your big games, Destiny.
Yeah, man, because, aside from post content, they really didn't have a good foundation. Like, I don't even know. It's kind of hard to say. Like, they had a foundation, and I kind of see the direction that they went, but it was confusing. It didn't, making the synergies didn't really make sense. Some classes were kind of broken. Like, it didn't really mesh like the looter shooters that we see, like Division and Destiny and Borderlands, right?
For sure.
But, with some of the information that we got now that we're gonna start talking about, it really, like you said, man, it's starting to look like Destiny. So I'll kind of go off with one of the first kind of categories or captions that they have. So we have choice and experimentation in your loadout. So all items are categorized to one of the 11 available equipment slots.
Nice.
Weapons are either primary or secondary, allowing distinctiveness in their role. Mods and artifact slots replace components. Manage equipment and abilities in your loadout screen. So, I mean, this all together, you know, it just sounds like some good stuff, man. Yeah,
it's a step in the right direction. Honestly, the components felt tacked on. They didn't feel useful when we were actually playing the game, and that was one of the biggest downfalls. We want our javelin to stand for something and to have a purpose behind it. And it felt like by the time we completed the game, my javelin still felt exactly the same when I first started. Probably 4 hours into the game, still looked the same as where I ended the game. And that's a big problem, right? And that's one of the things that they're trying to fix now, is to have your javelin stand out and be more for your play style. And then that way it can complement whoever you're kind of grouped up with and going out for the co-op part of the game, right? So
yeah, man.
Here's hoping, right?
Yeah, man, because as I'll kind of go further more into it. So they're talking about reliably create builds. So abilities are now unlocks and not drops.
Nice.
Play with the abilities you want when you want. Empower your abilities by equipping them with mods. Builds are defined by the synergies of specializations, abilities, and equipment. Inscriptions improve build synergies, but are no longer the primary factor.
Yeah,
so,
the loot drop in this game was a huge downfall within the game, right? That was the biggest thing.
Yes.
Is now they seem to kind of go towards more of this upgrade system where you're unlocking the abilities and stuff like that, and that gets even deeper as we kind of get down into the bottom of the blog here. But the biggest problem was when you're going out there and you're getting these loot drops. You didn't know what you got really when you got your loot drop, and then half the time they didn't really matter, Nate. That was the other problem, is that I didn't need the same gun over and over again.
Yeah, man. Or like the same just ability that they just would continuously throw at you. So now it's, you know, it's like I envision what they're gonna do is something like level 1 to 30. You unlock all your skills by level 30, and then while you're playing this, you get, you know, different rarities of components and artifacts that kind of just buff yourself. So
it sounds exciting, right? Because now they're moving into now they're going into this provide choice and progression through skill trees. Here we go, Nate. This is kind of what we've been looking for, right? Each javelin now can level up, awarding skill points. Skill points can be spent to unlock abilities, passives, and stat boosts. Each specialization has its own advanced skill tree. Oh man! Like, dude, like, right? This is where we've been looking for.
More like Diablo and even like Paths of Exile, maybe. I don't know. This is the RPG kind of side that I'm really looking into.
Like right now, my javelin is close to max level, and you're up even higher than I am.
Oh man, I grinded the crap out of that game.
Well, exactly, but that's all we did was grind. And in a lot of these games, you do grind. That's the purpose behind the game, but it just didn't feel rewarding. Here, now that we're going to this whole skill tree system, man, this is like a complete revamp. And I almost wonder why they're doing this, Nate. I think you and we talked about this off screen too, as to what's going on and why do they want to do it this way instead of just come out with Anthem 2 instead of just Anthem 1.5.
Well, like, let's look at Fallout 76. I've been playing that a lot lately. It had a terribly rough launch.
Yeah.
But man, they had a recent interview with Todd Howard, and he was talking about it. And man, they have content coming in December that's free, and then more content to come next year, and I imagine even maybe the following year. And again, it's all free. And you want to know what Bethesda did? They realized that they had kind of made a mistake. And this is their way of saying, like, sorry, and maybe this is kind of BioWare's take. I really hope that with this huge overhaul, we get, like, a 5-hour to 10-hour, like, a 5-hour at least campaign with 20 to 40 hours of post-game content.
Well,
That's what we need to have with this, because, you know, for me, it's going to be great to revisit Anthem again.
Yeah.
But to be able to want to grind past just the main story again, that maybe like maybe I'd play through it again. That's a long story, right?
Yeah,
So,
no.
but anyways, if they
Yeah.
they need to have some more stuff with.
Absolutely. They're
with this
looking
overall.
They want to expand on the fantasy and the play styles of each javelin. So that's another bit of their focus, right? Is to get us the javelin suits that I think we all desired at the beginning. But okay, overall, they do this whole skill tree thing. They give us all the javelins, and this is everything that sounds promising and honestly should have been there from the beginning of the game.
Of course.
But they've noticed their mistakes, and this is what they're going back to fix. But like you said, Nate, if there's no new content coming with this, then there's no point in us going back. I'm not going to go back just to grind out and play the Tyrant Mine again and again and again, right? When you get bored of these things, man. So you get them over and over and over again. I can only shoot a spider so many times until I want to move on. And the problem is with Anthem is that we've all completely moved on from the game.
Yeah. So what I'd really like to see is, like I said, that 5-hour chunk and some post-game content, and then, you know, maybe they release that in the fall time, or, you know, maybe even spring rather, and then in the fall they kind of early fall they drop the bomb saying Anthem 2 with even more improvements to what we created with Anthem 2.0.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's kind of what I hope. I really liked Anthem, and I think that it deserves a sequel if they do what they're showing us right now.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Nate. I loved Anthem. Like I said, I felt hard for Anthem, but just in the end, it just didn't have enough to carry us forward. I think what they're doing here now is getting the mechanics ready for Anthem 2, but they're giving us a light taste of what's going to happen, and then once we get it all back into Anthem, then you're excited to go for that next. Okay, when's the next Anthem coming? When are we going to see Anthem 2? Right? So get everybody back in who's bailed out like we have, and get us thirsty for more, and then drop that Anthem 2 is coming. And then I think that's where BioWare sets themselves up for the future and to carry the game along in the next generation ahead of us here.
Yeah, man. Like, I would love to just have, you know, Destiny's in my rotation every year, sometimes a few times a year.
Sure.
Division's in there. I would love to just slap Anthem into that series and just have a full kind of year of whenever I feel like playing a looter shooter, I got options.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hit us up at insidethegame.ca and let us know, are you looking for Anthem? Or
Are you still playing Anthem?
oh, that's the other thing too. Are you playing? Or are you just done? Or do you want more?
Taking damage. Any other freelancers out there? I need backup.
Scars, you've got this.
This week's mobile mention, I got a good one. It's not a new game. Actually, it's been out for a little while, but it is crazy popular right now, and it's Among Us. It's a $5 game on Steam, but you know what? It's free on mobile, and I didn't even know that, actually. I bought the game on Steam, and I'd been playing it for a while before I even actually knew it was available on all mobile platforms, and it's also free, and it's the same game. It has all the same features, and it has crossplay as well. You can jump right in and play with people on PC and vice versa, and it's a ton of fun. The premise is quite simple. Essentially, you're one of two roles. You're either a crewmate or you're the imposter. If you're the crewmate, your job is to finish your menial tasks, hopefully in time with everybody else, so you can defeat the imposter, or you figure out who the imposters are and you vote them off. And, well, let's get real here. The best part of this game is being the imposter, because you can set off sabotages around the map to make the crew go off in certain areas while you do the dirty work. You know, you jump in there and you can slice the guys in half, and it's a ton of fun. And this is one of those games that you can just jump in and play one round and be done in 10-15 minutes, or you can be on there for hours playing along with your friends or jumping into public lobbies. I find the public lobbies are a little bit harder to get into because, you know, know, you can only communicate via typing unless you jump into a Discord channel with everybody in the room, which isn't usually the case. But I do find it a ton of fun to be able to jump in with up to 9 of your friends. And if you have a Discord channel or a voice chat channel that you can all be in and discuss what you're seeing, this game is a ton of fun. And again, it's free on mobile. So if you're looking for a fun game to jump into, this is definitely it. Make sure you check out Among Us.
All right, Nate, you ready? The Webslinger is back.
Oh yeah.
Nate, you and I have been swinging through the streets with Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is the latest one from Insomniac Games. Dude, Spider-Man is back, and is back in a big way. It's gonna be hard not to gush this entire review because honestly, dude, I have nothing really to criticize about. The game was so spot on, and it gave you that feel of being the Spider-Man. And even though we're the new Spider-Man, I want to say, because he's referenced as the new Spider-Man the entire game. And it was funny to hear, oh, you're the new guy kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I thought the story itself was a strong focus, and it really carried the entire game forward. And the rest of it just fell into place, from the game mechanics, from the fighting mechanics. Like, it's all there in one complete package. Dude, this game is incredible.
Oh man, it's just like you said, dude. This is a masterpiece. Between going in and out of combat and going into cinematics, it's all a perfect package that is paced also perfectly, man. Oh, like you said, it's gonna be hard not to just gush about this game because I haven't played a Spider-Man game in a very long time. So kind of getting my hands on this, like, hats off to you, Insomniac, for just absolutely crushing it, man.
No, absolutely.
So okay, let's talk about the combat, man, because I thought that was really cool. It's a combination of dodging and blocking, not really blocking so much, but mostly just dodging and countering what they're throwing at you, which is ranged attacks, ground pounds, all sorts of different things, man.
So they mixed it up too, because they added in the Venom ability and a couple other unique twists and turns that you'll encounter as you progress along throughout the game. And this whole Venom mechanic, it's not, when they said Venom, dude, the first thing I went to though was Venom himself, right?
Yeah.
But they reference this as Venom, like a sting bite kind of thing. So Venom from a snake is what they're kind of looking at, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, I can get that. I can handle and go with this. This is cool. But this whole Venom ability really enhanced a lot of the gameplay itself as well. And it just allows you to take down some of the tougher guys that you would normally maybe struggle with. And there's just so much to the combat. It was so fluid and so, I don't want to say simple, but if you timed it properly, it was so satisfying.
Yeah, man, they somehow really just made everything feel somehow so fluent. Every dodge, you somehow, it didn't just look out of place, like you kind of warped there. It just, everything was perfect, man. And you're basically kind of like the Venom thing, like you were mentioning. You have a charge meter that you can refill, and that either heals you or you kind of get different abilities that you unlock, because this game's actually an RPG, man. There is a ton of things to upgrade in this game. And starting things off, I guess XP, like I said, that upgrades skills.
Yeah, for sure. So I completed the entire game to the point where I actually 100%ed everything. I did that in about, I want to say 30 hours. I collected everything you needed to collect. I upgraded almost everything. Now I'm back in with New Game Plus to go and get the things I didn't upgrade. and there's certain like gadgets and mods to your suit. That's what I have left to do. And the way I'm looking at it is there is an app you get within the game, and it allows you to go out and do like these Spider-Man friendly neighborhood spider quests. So that's how you're going to earn your tokens and points to upgrade your gear. And that's basically what I have to do is one more time round of that. And then, dude, I am completely done with this game. Which saddens me, to be honest, because I'm now waiting for DLC is where
Yeah, man. But I mean, you're like 30 hours into the game, and this isn't a full price game. This isn't your $80, $90 price. It's not quite half. It's like, I don't know, something like $55 Canadian, I believe, 40 American probably.
But it's a full game.
It is. It's a full packaged game, man, because from start to finish, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. The pace of this game I thought was spot on. I love swinging through the streets. Nate, I told you about this earlier. I was swinging through, and honestly, I got goosebumps. Insomniac Games and Spider-Man Miles Morales gave me goosebumps playing the game. It was so fun. The opening cinematic is complete magic. It was beautiful, it was fantastic, and it just got you hooked immediately right into the game. But then as I'm swinging through the streets, and it doesn't prompt you to do this, if you hold both triggers, L2 and R2, you can pull up and aim your spider web and then hold X just like the last game and then zip to the next platform, right? And it kind of launches you off. Well, I'm swinging through the streets and I'm a little higher in some aspects, and then as I came down, there's these water towers there. Well, I shot at the water tower, not thinking anything otherwise, but Spider-Man went right through the legs and twisted and shot out. Like, it was one of the most incredible things just to experience that alone. Spider-Man Miles Morales has got to be one of the best games this year.
I'm honestly with you, man. Like you said, traversing and flying through the city of where is it again?
We're in Harlem now.
Harlem, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. So, traversing through it, they absolutely made it really difficult to actually screw up. Like, honestly, you pretty much, as you're flying through, you really have to go on a hard angle to just not connect well. It's incredible, man.
No, for sure. And if you can tell, we are kind of avoiding a little bit of the story. The overall story involves a tinkerer and a couple other experiences that we just don't want to spoil because it's not worth spoiling. It is definitely something we feel that you need to go and experience. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Nate, is one of the best games, like I said, this year, and it's easily hands down one. It's not worth spoiling. Just go pick up the game.
Yeah, man, because you're in for a good one. So I think we should score this, dude, because like you said, we can't spoil the story.
No,
because of a couple rules, and well, like we said, it's so good. So anyways, what are you gonna score this, dude?
All right, well, man, like so I said, this game is perfect though, Nate. Honestly, I didn't have any issues. There was a couple little glitches here or there, but that's just gaming. So everything runs so smooth. The story is absolutely incredible. I love all the plot twists and turns and things. Man, I was shocked a few times, and that's why I said the game Spider-Man Miles Morales gave me goosebumps, and for that, it gets a 10.
Wow, man, that's a pretty high number, and you want to know what? I'm gonna have to give this one a 10 as well. The relationships that I've seen created in this game are super realistic. The combat is amazing. Everything is perfect, dude. 10 out of 10.
Awesome.
Ten out of 10. Enough said.
Guys, we had some big news lately come out of Netflix with a new partnership with Ubisoft.
Ooh.
Assassin's Creed series is on the way, and Adam had a bright idea of what time period or Assassin's Creed era are we looking for the series. I've got a couple ideas. What are you guys thinking? Nate, what's on your mind?
Oh man, so this is a tough one, dude, because there's quite a few variables. Me and Corey were kind of talking about this, so I'm not gonna steal his thunder, but you know, the real thought is like, are they gonna go with the beginning? Maybe are they gonna go with the more recent events with, you know, Alexios and Cassandra and that whole thing?
Right.
I don't actually think that. I'm kind of veering towards Ezio and his story. It's not necessarily the beginning, but it is probably one of the most popular Assassin's Creed franchises,
Sure.
per se, and with the most games kind of behind him. But I don't know, I'm not like 100% set on that. It's not like, yeah, this is what's happening, but at any rate, that's my shot at this. What about you, Corey?
Well, so I agree with you. We kind of did talk about that. We think maybe they're gonna, you know, if you're gonna start something, especially something like Assassin's Creed that has so many iterations, right? There's so many time periods that this game has gone through. It's just kind of, what story do we want to see the most? And because I played the game right from the beginning and haven't played some of the more recent games, I want to see Altair's story. And I know it's not the biggest one, you know, and that's what I'm saying. But I think when I think about how that could be turned into a TV series, a live action TV series, and I feel like that story could be told really, really well. And like I said, I don't know if necessarily that's the most popular option, because like I see like Black Flag being really popular, right?
Absolutely.
Like I know it's, you know, it's not a, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean, but I mean it's very
Man, that would be sweet.
But you know what I mean, though? Like it's very theatrical, and you could do a lot with something like Black Flag. But I think, I don't know, I just feel like that Assassin's Creed, the first game, that first story is kind of where I'd like to see them start. But who knows, man? What do you think, Drew?
Well, honestly, I think you got a good point, Corey, but I don't think that's where they're going to start. I think it'll be a great way to start, but I think the way Ezio's story starts and then it unfolds as you go along, I think they have 3 games alone to work with, right? Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and then Revelations, where it all wraps up. So there's lots of content there to pull from to then craft your own series. And let's not forget here too, they're going to go live action, anime, and an animation as well. So they're doing like 3 different versions of Assassin's Creed. And my only other fear is that we're going to get Assassin's Creed overload, man. And we had that back in the day, because you got Assassin's Creed 2, which took 2 years off of Altair's story, right? So you're like, cool, finished Altair's story, had a great time. There were problems with it, right? A lot of repetitive nature to it. And a lot of people...
Yeah, but it's the OG.
It is the OG, and it's where you started. Man, when you first climb up those towers and you take the leap of faith, it is remarkable to be able to relive that, right? But then they take the 2 years off, go to Assassin's Creed 2, all of a sudden now you got Ezio dual wielding these blades and nailing guys at the same time. I remember watching that for the first time and being absolutely blown away. It was so incredible. But the way Ezio's story actually starts, it's him as a baby, and then he grows up. So there's a good starting point there, and I think they need to have you get that connection with Ezio as a younger age, and then watch him mature into the master assassin he becomes, and then almost pass the torch by the time you get to Revelations. So I think there's lots of content there. Whether they go for the later versions, like you're saying there, Nate, with, you know, Odyssey and Alexios and Cassandra's story, and I'm not really sure, or even the latest one now with Valhalla, right? There's a big push lately we're seeing in the Viking time period for the series and stuff, so that could be another way. Or maybe they just make their own version.
Yeah. You know, like, I was even kind of thinking something I'd like to see would be like China, you know, like that, because, you know, I love Mulan and that whole kind of aspect. So, like, I was thinking that could be kind of a cool spin, but who knows, man? It's hard to say.
Like we said, there's so many ways, so many paths they can go down. Drew, you definitely, I think, have the best idea, because it's the most content and it's the most, you know, they can pull the biggest story they can pull from to to play out on screen for everybody to watch. And with the success of the show like The Witcher, and I know there's been other spin-offs of video game shows that maybe haven't been as good, but I mean, with how wildly popular The Witcher was, like, that show was awesome, and anybody that was
well done it was.
Exactly. I didn't even play that much of the games, and I was a huge fan of the show.
Yep.
So
sure.
if you could even make an Assassin's Creed that even came close to the production quality of a show like that, when Ubisoft's involved with making this, it's going to turn out, and I think it's going to be high quality. So regardless of what era and story they pick, I think it's going to be awesome to watch. Like, I know all of us are going to be really looking forward to it.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Well, what do you guys think about, it's multiple seasons, so what if a season was an era per se? Nah,
Absolutely.
I was kind of thinking maybe the person who plays, the role in the present day actually fulfilled the role in the actual, in whatever era that they play in.
Yeah.
So that would kind of cut the need to have all these AAA actors to play as Ezio and Altair and whomever. You just have that one main person or whoever. So I don't know. That's just an idea I thought of. I don't think that's gonna happen either.
Well, depending on how long a series like this goes on, they're gonna need to keep coming up with ideas. And if they don't go, like Drew said, the route of just making their own story, they're gonna have to start playing off some of the shorter, kind of episodic games that we've played in this series already, right?
Yeah.
No, for sure. But now, if you guys had to actually pick your own game and bring it over to Netflix, and you pitched it to Netflix and said, hey, what about we make a series on this game? What game would you pick, Nate?
All right, man. You're not gonna like me, but I got 3 ideas.
You get one idea, not
right.
3.
No,
Your best. What's your best out of the 3?
Yeah.
no, that's not fair. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, it's either.
You tell me your 3. Tell us your 3, and then we'll tell you which one.
Well, it's technically 2. One's kind of whatever. So we'll go with Samurai in Japan. Assassin's Creed Japan, go with the samurai, that era, and the whole, that would be so cool because assassin samurais would be wicked, man. But on my other hand, I'm also thinking the Crusades, and I'm sorry if I took either of your ideas, but I had to share both of them.
What about...
So like that Crusades, Joan of Arc, King Arthur, throw those characters in with the main...
For honor of the
assassin.
game.
Oh, you got something, man. Yeah, for honor.
Oh my
Whoops.
God.
I guess, hey, there you go. But anyways,
Corey,
that's my role.
if you had to pick a game, not some samurai thing like Nate's thinking over here, but if you actually pick a game to bring over and make your own series, what would you pick? I had a couple lingering for a while.
It's tough, man, because you've got so many, there's so many good games out there. I mean, outside of the Assassin's Creed world, there's so many good stories being told in the video game world. Yeah. And I'm just, it's tough because I think of some of the Telltale story games that we play. I know those play out like TV shows already, but if you were just to even replay those stories in the live action sense, I got so invested into some of those stories, right? So it'd be nice to see a game, games like that kind of turn into a live action TV show, maybe. I don't know, because it's so hard to figure out, nail down one game that you think would be really good for a live action TV series.
I got one. Actually, I've had a few lingering, but the one I keep coming back to for some reason is God of War.
Yeah.
Okay.
God of War, I think, would be a fascinating story.
Man.
And there's a lot there to unravel, too. Because, again, God of War has gone on for so long. Mm-hmm. And then with the recent events, too, of Kratos bringing his son into the mix, man, you can make a whole series just on that. Now, whether you pick at the end and kind of linger on for a sequel for another season, I don't know. But at the same time, there's lots of stuff to uncover when it comes to Kratos. But you don't want to go back to the early days because all he's doing is yelling. So that would make a very good series. But yeah,
a great HBO miniseries.
Well, exactly, right? There's definitely some possibilities. We'd love to hear all your ideas. Hit us up at insidethegame.ca and let us know, what game do you want to see in the next Netflix series?
Scott, this week we're checking out a dungeon crawler with a comedic twist.
Justice shall prevail. Azaronga!
My voice shall lead you to glory.
My power grows. Euclid, be my witness.
Like I said, Scott, we're checking out a cool dungeon crawler this week. It's called The Dungeons of Nahelbek, the Amulet of Chaos. It's a dungeon crawling ARPG, kind of XCOM feel game. We've played a few of these now, but this one has a bit of a different twist, and it's based mainly around the party you travel with in this game. And it's kind of this band of misfit heroes. We have our ranger, our ogre, our elf, a thief. There's a kind of a very Conan barbarian type character, and they all have their own, kind of funny quips and things about them that you kind of learn as you go through this story, as you play through this game. What did you think jumping into this kind of interesting twist on this classic style game?
Yeah, now I have to preface it by saying that I'm not an expert on these kinds of games. Although we've played several of them, it's not my normal bread and butter. So I was definitely really happy to see that this game is more about the group of people that you're collecting and playing with. And they not only play off each other really well, but they also each have their own skill tree that grows and gets better and better. So you really get used to using the barbarian like a barbarian, and the dwarf, as a shock trooper. And it gets really interesting in the strategy aspect of the game that way. I definitely have to say that I enjoyed my time in this one. It pulled me in with the story elements and with the weird comedy going on, because this game doesn't really take itself too seriously. And I think that's definitely a pro in this case.
Yeah, because you know what, there's one thing I do know about these games is that they can be kind of complicated to get into, because it's not your basic free moving style game. Everything is tile based, and every move kind of requires a little bit of forethought, some strategy. So because, like you said, this game kind of plays on the comedic style of the characters and how they banter back and forth, and by no means is the language in this game family friendly. There's definitely some foul language in this game, but as an adult, it does kind of add to that charm of the game. It makes it a little more enjoyable as you go through, and the characters are bantering back and forth together. But at the same time, it presents itself in a way where it gives you a lot of descriptors as you kind of move through the first few missions in kind of a tutorial manner. It really kind of gets you into this game and learning, what's cover, what's half cover, the two types of movement that you kind of have each turn with your action points, and then how, like you said, you build up these skill trees and kind of start to tailor your party a little bit. And that's kind of where the replayability, I thought, came into this game, is being able to tailor your party in different ways as you go through. So you may play this game through, having your party set up, like you said, very, the barbarian's the barbarian, and the dwarf's the shock trooper, and the ogre's, the ogre. And you can change it up a little bit and customize them a little bit more as you go through. And I thought that was kind of a neat little touch, but also keeping it simplified and keeping it light all the way through.
Yeah, and the explanation that they offer for each step of the game really, really helps you learn what you're doing. And I think that's very important for this kind of game specifically, because there's a lot to take on. In the first few chapters, you're picking up characters and you're learning how everything works, and it would be easy to get lost in the translation, but they do a very good job of putting you through the tutorial ropes so that you're not making, incredible mistakes with your valuable characters later on.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know what? I don't have too much to gripe about this game. The only thing I really do have to talk about that I thought was a little bit odd is I felt like as I played through these missions through the game, sometimes certain missions felt easier than others. And I mean, I know that's going to be the case in any game, but what I really meant is I felt like the difficulty swing from one mission to the next was kind of random. Like, I may play through and have, 7 or 8 people to take out on the map, and I find that, 3 or 4 of those people just start ganging up on all my injured players. They'll move to the injured players, and then the next match, they'll just kind of stay behind cover and they won't move around as much. So I just thought there was a bit of a bit too much of a variance there on the difficulty level. Like, sometimes it was really hard, and other times it felt like I was kind of cruising through. So I just thought maybe a bit more of a balance there would be nice. But again, like I said, I'm probably just griping more than anything. I did actually have a good time playing this game. It is nice to play a game like this on the lighter side. It's a little more enjoyable, and it kind of makes it a little more rewarding when you get to the end of each mission or level, and these characters have this kind of, you know, cut scene that they're talking to a new character or in between with each other, and it just, you know, you have a good laugh, and I think that's really where you pull the enjoyment out of this one.
And I feel like that variance in difficulty, it also adds to the overall story between your characters. Like, it really does give them kind of a troubled area to pass, and then they all grow together because of that. I think they did a really good job on the narration between areas. But I definitely did have that difficulty spike where sometimes it's just your characters are getting decimated, and it's really hard to kind of come back from. But it's good that there's a high ceiling to this kind of a game because it's so tactical. There really needs to be that kind of level of, you know, involvement.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know what, Scott? I think the name of the game is harder to say than actually learning how to play this one. The Dungeons of Nuhelbeck, the Amulet of Chaos, it was a lot of fun. If you had to score it, what do you think you're going to give it?
Well, this one has a lot of very good production value to it. It looks like a great game. There's a lot of detail in the map. There's a lot of detail between the characters. I was really impressed by this one. And even though it's not my kind of combat, my kind of game, I was pulled in, and I feel like I enjoy this one quite a bit. So I have to give this one a 7.5, but it's a strong 7.5.
All right, you know what? I'm just a little bit below you, and I was kind of locked in on this score almost as soon as I started playing this game because it's just how much I did enjoy it compared to playing some other XCOM style games that were a little more difficult to get into. I love the kind of the cartoony art style. I love the ability to zoom right in on kind of check out the detail of these levels and the characters. So you know what? For that, I'm right there with a 7. Great art style accompanied by a cast of funny characters will have you enjoying this one from beginning to end, but the difficulty spikes at times made this one somewhat frustrating.
Thanks so much for watching this week. We had a great show. What do you think of Spider-Man Miles Morales? Are you getting the game? Well, you can let us know at insidethegame.ca. And until next week, thanks again, and we'll see you inside the game.
One friendly operator remaining. Diffuser located. Get safe.